Right, let's bring Peter Walton into the conversation. Hi, Peter. I put a question out on social media, just basically saying if you've got an opinion about VAR, please get in touch. We've had about 600 replies. So I think what we'll do, we'll just run through the thoughts from I've taken a selection of them. We'll run through the thoughts of
Any
people
Leicester
at home.
fans?
Yeah, probably. And some Wolves fans and many other football fans. And just whoever wants it can answer it and we'll hopefully get a debate going. So the first one is from Angus Parker, APM Parker on Twitter, who says VAR was brought in for clear and obvious errors. How could anyone try to justify the decision tonight in this game was clear and obvious in any way whatsoever? How about decisions are only taken to VAR if the referee or the assistants feel it might be necessary, like cricket, like rugby?
Well, yeah, I think we could all go along with that. But the rule and the law are not that at the moment, so we can't just suddenly bend it now. He was offside tonight, and as much as we dislike some of the rulings, we have to get on with it until the law is changed to a clear and obvious two. It's up to the referee to decide. Then we can all get behind it. But if you're a Leicester fan, you're not complaining about VAR. You're saying to people, he was offside, and he was, albeit it was frustrating and complicated. Leicester get out in a real nice line, which they're told to do from corners. Once the ball goes back, everybody shuffles up in a line, and he caught him offside. I didn't like it. He didn't like it. He didn't like it. But that is the rule. And that is the law at this moment in time. And until that changes...
I'm not saying he didn't really catch him offside, did he, Mecca? It was like,
well,
it was like an inch.
But he was offside, mate.
I know that, but what I'm saying...
If he plays that corner and gets out half a yard quicker, he's onside.
The words are here are clear and obvious. That's the thing here, the clear and obvious. If you're going to have to take 5 or 6 takes to see something, it's not clear and obvious, is it?
Say if that's Norwich, it's the last game of the season, sorry to bring Norwich up, and Norwich get relegated.
I understand it.
Not happening.
No, but you know what I mean. On a decision like that, where we go, actually, it's not clear and obvious, so we'll just roll with it. And Norwich are like, well, we've lost X amount of money, and that is offside.
So
we have to be
just want it to be
careful.
right?
I want it to be right, yes.
More than anything else?
No, but I don't mind us having a law. I want it to be right as the law says it's right at the moment in time. If the law changes and says the referee's decision is final and we'll go along with it and everybody agrees to it, I'm more than happy for that. I want to see more goals. I was frustrated about tonight. I would have been quite happy for that to go in. And there's been a number of goals this year that you thought, what on earth's gone on? But if you're on the opposing side to it and he is offside and the goal's been given against you, there'll be furore about it.
It's interesting, this conversation about the laws, Peter, because Mr. Conks, Steve Connor on Twitter, says the problem isn't VAR. The problem is the rules. They need changing to suit how VAR now works. So the handball rule is ridiculous. Accidental handball should be the same for a striker as a defender. If you don't know the rule, if the ball bounces up totally unintentionally and it touches a striker and he puts the ball in the net, the goal's disallowed, unintentional handball. If it bounces up and touches a defender's hand, unintentional, no problem. Offsides should also have a time limit. If it's not sorted within a minute or two, it isn't clear and obvious. They're coming back to the same thing here, Peter, that we've got the technology. How have we got the laws to match it now?
Well, clearly the technology's overtaken the law. When VAR was introduced, we looked to lay it on top of the existing law. We haven't actually changed the law to match the technology that we've got. And when we come back with this clear and obvious element, when VAR was introduced, we didn't necessarily have that 3D line that we now see in the Premier League and the Champions League, where we can look at people's armpits, where we can look at the people's Achilles heel. And that, again, has been brought in subsequently, since VAR has been introduced. So, yes, I can understand the argument when they say it's not clear and obvious, but it's factual. And as you said there, if it's factual decision, then it's got to be correct until the law gives a margin of error involved in the VAR decisions.
There's a lot of talk about this margin of error. How do we get to the bottom of that, though? Because let's say that we decide, Peter, it's a 10 centimetre margin of error. All you're doing is moving the line to 10 centimetres, because people are going, well, is that 10 centimetres?
Yeah, exactly.
It's 9.9, it's 10.1, it's exactly on 10.
Yeah,
It's hard to find an answer to this.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
It is a slippery slope, absolutely right. But at the moment, what we're seeing is, what does football want? Does football, and I say football, what does the fans, what does the players, what do they want? Do they want it factually, or do they want this margin of error introduced for when it's a factual decision? And again, I think, and you can listen to social media, that people want this kind of, let's get back to clear and obvious. So if we can't see it with a naked eye, then we don't give it. Well, if we don't give it and we seem to be factually incorrect, then people have got a fuss to make. So I do think there's an element of margin error to be brought in. How that's implemented, again, people who work in IFAB will determine that. But again, I think there should be some kind of margin there to give what people say is far too close a call some leeway.
Yeah, because I think ultimately, Pete, when you say what do footballers want, what do fans want, ultimately they want goals, they want excitement, they want passion. That's what football's all about, really. So, you know, if you're taking away these goals, as we saw at Wolves against Liverpool, where it's just a fraction of an inch, what are we doing to our game in general?
Yeah,
it's true. I've got a message here from Rich who says, as with most things, people focus on the negative, but VAR just needs a few tweaks. It gets the blame for bad rules, such as handball. Change the offside back to daylight, and it would be easy. Refs in the Premier League are average at best and are hiding behind VAR. Use the monitor and actually ref the game, is what Rich says. He's Guna_Keys on social media.
I'll come back on that,
Yeah,
Jake, just a moment, because you know we're here not necessarily bashing VAR, but showing VAR for some of the extremities that it's got. I think VAR is now proving a positive tool for refereeing, a positive tool for football. We are seeing clear goals being awarded, we are seeing clear goals being disallowed, and we're only talking the finite margins when it comes to offside. So overall, VAR is positive for the game. Absolutely right. We've just got to look at the extremities, such as that marginal offside decision.
So how do we sort out this marginal offside decision? Maybe you can give us an idea, Peter, and you can all have your two penneth worth on what you think the final outcome should be, which will show how hard it is.
Well,
how do we actually get, Peter, from here for IFAB and everyone else to get together and make the laws work for the technology?
Yeah, I think that every technology, there is an inherent margin of error being brought into that. There are people who are far more technical now than I am and can actually introduce maybe a 10 centimetres, who knows, some kind of error situation. But ultimately, it gets to a point where we're not forensically looking at offside. We can see almost with the naked eye that a person is offside. And if that's the case, that's, I think, football will accept that, as they do with, you know, factual decisions such as, you know, a hand of God goal. Everybody can see it. So provided that you can demonstrate that he's factually offside and we can see it, he's offside, I think football will accept that.
Joe Norm Donison says the only problem with VAR is how it's being applied. As a tool, it's working to its full potential. This is the point we need to sort of... People blame VAR for problems.
Everything,
The technology works. It's now about how the technology gets utilised. It's, you know, I've used this analogy before. It's a bit like if you go to the doctors and before they work out what's wrong with you, they do a scan. All they're doing is getting more information. They still might come to the wrong conclusion, but they're getting more information.
I think we all feel that some of the handball decisions, they've got that rule of law wrong, don't we? I think we all agree that you cannot score a goal with your hands, with your arm.
I think we all agree on that,
No, like the Llorente one last year, which was given. But some of the things that, like the Declan Rice one, the Sheffield United West Ham, when we're going back and it bounced off his arm, I think some of them has got people so irate because it's ridiculous, isn't it? So I think there's certainly tweaks that can happen there, and of course there's tweaks that can happen with VAR. We're still in teething problems, aren't we? After 5 or 6 months of it happening, but I think we generally agree that most of the decisions have been the right decisions, and it's hard just to say rip it all up because people are not happy, because we'd be very unhappy if we went back to the old ways and offside goals were suddenly flying in left, right and centre.
Listen, we've covered FA Cup games this season at lower league matches where contentious decisions have happened and everyone in the crowd and we and other people have gone, if only had VAR, they'd work this out. VAR would make this so obvious. I wonder, this is one for you as well, Peter, as well as all of you, whether this is kind of a natural sort of human thing where we are negative about stuff, we question stuff until we reach the point of acceptance, and in 5 or 6 years, our kids will be saying, "Why were you moaning about this technology?" Because it's a natural process.
We're 6 months in.
To go through.
We're 6 months in, and we are going to have teething problems.
What do you think, Peter?
Well, yes, and I think again the lawmakers have accepted that element as well, and that's why they've introduced a working party for all the leagues, the confederations around the world to get together to start now looking at how do they home in with that technology they've got now. So yes, they're aware it's got teething problems, and they're aware it needs tweaking here and there. And what they're doing is making sure that everybody around the world who is affected by this has their say, so they can come to some kind of consensus and have a reasonable answer to it. And that working party has just met only last week, and they'll meet on a regular basis from now on.
Peter, then the argument to that is why bring, when it's got teething problems, still into the best league in the world? When it's got teething problems, why not bring it in when it's right?
Yeah, again, Robbie, a good argument to have, but what I'd counteract that and say that the majority of clubs in the Premier League have been affected by VAR in a positive manner this season, as well as a negative. So we're dwelling on the negatives, but in a risk situation, I think most chairmen, in fact, pretty much all the chairmen in the Premier League, will want VAR in to make sure they get those big decisions correct. We're only talking about finite decisions, and we're only talking about a small number of decisions also.
And you know what? Maybe the only way to get it right is to see it in active play like this and almost take the pain of a season like this to get the answers right long term.